It's AJ against Dillian White. It's live and free to listen to on talkSPORT, the home of boxing. In about an hour, just over an hour actually, Eddie Hearn, promoter, of course, will be joining us, giving his take on that. In the meantime, I can only apologise. You have to make do with the former super bantamweight champion of the universe, our mate, the wonderful Spencer Oliver joins us. Hello, Spence.
How are you, my friend?
Not as good as you. You look wonderful. You've been away?
Do you know what? I haven't been away.
Oh,
no.
okay. You look good. You look
I
good.
just feel good.
Bit of gardening, Spence.
You know what it's like, and you know what you got to do. You know, when you haven't got Townsend's money, you know you got to do what you got to do.
No one's got Townsend's money.
Yeah,
listen, so many questions about this. Firstly, you probably got wind of this before it broke. When you first got wind of it, whenever that was, initial reaction was what?
No, I'm glad that Anthony Joshua's decided to take this fight. We know what was been talked about out in Saudi, and the fights that have been talked out in Saudi. I felt like after Anthony Joshua's last performance against Jermaine Franklin, he needed another fight, and Dillian White is the perfect opponent for him. They've got history, but we heard in the build-up there, Natasha Jones saying that will bring the best out in Anthony Joshua. You know, I think that, you know, what's been missing for him is the confidence in his own ability to throw shots. You know, phase 1, phase 2, you know, go get that old fire back in his belly. That's what's been missing, and Dillian White will bring that out in him, and we'll see if he's still got what it takes to go out there and compete with the likes of Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and possibly even Alexander Usyk again.
Yeah, we've been fed a diet, Spence, over the last few months of that. At one point, we genuinely all thought it might happen with Fury. Then all of a sudden, Wilder, and these are the ones that really whet my appetite. I've got to be honest with you, a little bit more. What do you think the British fight fans, what would they be feeling right now on the announcement of this one?
Listen, the British fight fans, obviously, with all the fights that have been talked about, we were so close to getting Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. We even talked about Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, the big fights that everyone's been craving for. What we're talking about this now for the last 3 years or so. You know, these big fights that haven't materialised for one reason or another, politics getting in the way. So what will the fans think about Anthony Joshua versus Dillian White? I think it's a great fight. I think the fans will appreciate that it's a good fight because, you know, I think where does the loser go? I'm not sure. No. This is one of those ones that, you know, both guys are going to have to bring it, and stylistically they will bring it, and it will be a great fight. And I think that that's what we've been craving in this heavyweight division.
Let me ask you two questions, actually. One is being billed as a trilogy. I'm not so sure I buy into that, because one of the fights, of course, was when they're amateurs, and the other one was professionals. In fact, I'll ask you my second question in just a moment, because, of course, the Ashes is going on at the moment. Good news for England. John Norman is watching for talkSPORT.
Well, yes, they've taken a catch, and it's Travis Head who's gone. Joe Root with the catch. One ball after dropping Alex Carey. England have put 4 chances down today, including that of Travis Head in the first session, and it's really cost them. The reprieve has only lasted a ball. Head's now gone. A wicket for Wokes, a third on his return to the England side. The crowd are alive here again as well. After they saw Alex Carey walking to the crease, it was he, of course, who stumped Johnny Bairstow in those controversial circumstances in the second Test match. But Carey can go with Head, Marsh and Smith. 4 batters have all been dropped today, but Head's wicket has finally been taken. Outside edge, claimed by Root, bowled by Wokes to 39, and Australia lose their 6th. 245 for 6.
Thanks, John. If you're joining us, if you just turned on the radio, we've got Spencer Oliver in the studio with us. We've just announced that Anthony Joshua will be taking on Dillian White at the O2 Arena. It's live on talkSPORT on August the 12th. It's being billed, as I just said, there's a trilogy. I'm not sure I buy into that, because, of course, we never really count amateur fights, but we are supposedly here because it's 1-1. But the reason I'm asking this is because they've obviously got history, these two. How dangerous is this fight for Joshua?
Hugely dangerous. It's sort of like, it's the career defining at this stage, if I'm totally honest, as in, if he loses, where does he go? Because he's not going to be boxing in the top tier of the heavyweights, and that's like, and then you go, where's your ambition, where's your appetite? Have you still got that, with what you've achieved? 2-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist, world silver medalist, etc. He wants to be boxing top flight at this stage. You know, let's be honest, they're all in the twilight of their careers now. You know, that you're talking about the next sort of 2 or 3 years, and they'll all be done. So it's a must-win fight. There's a lot on the line here for Anthony Joshua. And credit to him, by the way, because he's the one that wanted this fight. He's the one that took this fight, because I think that had Eddie Hearn and the team, you know, had other choices, they may have gone there, or they may have said, listen, let's just go straight for the Deontay Wilder fight. You know, that's where the big money's at. That's where the fight, you know, the Saudis have showed a huge interest in that.
So if he loses this fight against Dillian White, is that fight with the bronze bomb, is it off?
Well, I'm not saying that it's off, but it's in serious jeopardy, definitely, you know, because what would the appetite be then? It depends how he loses, etc. Or would he want to go over it again and have the trilogy with Dillian White in the professional ranks? So yeah, there's a lot on the line here. It's his career on the line in many ways for Anthony Joshua and Dillian White. For Dillian White, he's in a position right now where he's been craving a big fight. He's coming off that loss to Tyson Fury. He didn't perform particularly well in it. It was a one-sided fight against Fury. So he's been thrown a lifeline here. And so this is what it means for where they're sat in their careers right now it's sort of like one of those ones where the loser has nowhere to go and the winner goes on and earns a lot of money. It's prize fighting. It's a business.
Spence, if AJ wins but doesn't win in style, doesn't put on a bit of a show, doesn't really produce his best and find his top gear, if he just sort of somehow gets over the line with his fight, again, what does that do moving forward? Because it feels to me, if Dillian White wins this fight, it's an incredible result for him.
Yep.
But it feels for me, if AJ wins this fight but doesn't win it well, doesn't win it by putting on a bit of sparkle, give us a little bit of pizzazz, then that's not going to be enough either.
And it's all about making a statement, I believe. That, listen, if AJ scrapes over the line, he's still got to fight with Deontay Wilder. Right. It still happens because a win's a win at the end of the day, but it's just that the public perception of him are going to look at him and say, listen, the fight's left him, the fight's gone. What AJ needs to do is now convince people that he's not a shot fighter. He's not a guy that people think that his best days are behind him, because we haven't seen that in recent times. In recent times, since the Alexander Usyk first fight, really, he went in there and he got beat and beat quite convincingly. He wasn't throwing enough punches. He looked very negative. The second fight he done a little bit better, but still didn't perform to his best ability. Franklin, he hasn't performed to the best of his ability. We need to see the AJ of old, the AJ that fights with his heart on his sleeve, that's wild, because that's where he's strong.
Do you think that AJ's about? I mean, the last time I saw AJ, he was trying to beat up a mattress. I'm not quite sure what that was all about.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was a bit bizarre, but do you think, the AJ you're alluding to is one against Klitschko, right, in that crazy round?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. Is that still about that AJ, do you think?
This is the beauty of this fight. That's what we find out, because stylistically, like I say, Dillian White, and because of the history of the two, they will lock horns early in the fight. It's not going to be one of those cagey sort of fights. They both know what's on the line. Dillian will know that AJ maybe is lacking the confidence that he once used to have, and Dillian will see this is his way back in. So there's for all of these reasons, it's going to be fireworks from the opening bell, I think, and we will find out then whether AJ's the AJ of old, and if he is, then it relights the heavydweight division.
I think the British public are really excited about this. I genuinely do.
They are.
And I'm saying this because I've been on national radio before when I've seen fights and I've gone, I don't really care about this. But this one I really do. This is, I think, captured the imagination of the British public.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.